name is Abyan. I am a born and raised Bostonian, and in my household I have my mother and my younger brother. And for the past 16 years of my life, I grew up without personally knowing my biological father. As I was growing up, I never really thought of my father. My stepfather was my dad in my eyes. As I grew older, the more I thought of my biological father, the angrier and more confused I became. I wanted to meet him and find out why he left my mother and I. As I reached high school, I learned how to deal with my emotions, and I'm not as angry as I was before. This is the story of my journey from anger to clarity. As I have stated earlier, I have always wanted to confront my father. I wanted to know why he left my mother and me. This feeling would sometimes waver. Sometimes I wanted to meet him, and other times I wanted nothing to do with him. I would feel uncomfortable bringing up my feelings about my father to my mother because I didn't know how she would react. I finally had enough courage to talk to my mom about my father. My mother at first was confused on why I cared so much about a man who never cared enough to be in my life. I tried to explain to her my interest in my father. He had a hand in creating me, and I had no explanation to why he left and never took time to see me. She explained the kind of person he was and the type of family he came from, which helped me understand him a little more. I still have a lot of unanswered questions about my father, and the only way I'll be able to acquire those answers is by meeting him. I am currently still hesitant in meeting him, but as I mature in age and mentality, I'll be able to handle it. Unfortunately, because of the failed relationship between my mother and father, I don't believe in love. I don't understand how one person will eventually come into my life and sweep me off my feet. I don't think I could depend on anyone so much for anything. Instead of focusing on the negatives of my life, such as my father, I think of all the positive things I have in my life, such as my wonderful stepfather. He is my dad and has represented the father figure role for most of my life. He has continued to be my dad even after he and my mom separated. I appreciate that I have parents who are open to answering questions about my father and support me through any of the decisions I make regarding my father and my life in general. In a way, I pushed my father out of my life. He wasn't there for me, and there should be no reason for me to waste my time and energy focusing on a person who doesn't think of me. At this point of my life, I feel emotionally freer than I ever felt before.